Hello, guys. Welcome to Daddy and the Don. Although it's not Daddy and the Don today, we don't know where the Don is. He's in hiding once again. I think he's working, but it's Daddy and the Jord. Twice the size, twice as handsome. It's Jordy MBA from Munzie Sports, the sports capital, all the shows that he hosts.
Oh,
you all right, Jord?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yes.
Darren talks NBA. You okay, mate?
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, World Cup time is my favourite time of the year. Favorite major competition in any sport has got to be the World Cup. So yeah, I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I think just before we get into it, and just obviously there's been quite a lot of hype around the controversies around this World Cup. So I think it's just good we're actually close to the actual on-field stuff now. We've had a lot of stuff in the news, a lot of heat, and football's one of those sports that can just get everyone, put your differences aside and just get on with the game, really, isn't it? So just everything to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to drag its feet. Definitely going to be protests and things throughout it. But I said to one of my friends this morning, I'm just trying to separate the art from the artist, if you get what I mean. Just kind of, yeah, I completely agree with what people, some of the concerns people have got about where it's being staged and everything. But I just want to focus on the football now. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be enjoying the tournament through doing that, because if all you're going to do is just focus on the negatives and not talk about what the actual sport that's being played, then you're not going to enjoy it and you might as well not bother watching it.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. So for anyone watching on, so it was supposed to be at 1 o'clock, but Jordan's got an appointment, so we're going to have to get this an hour earlier. Very important appointment, isn't it, Jordy?
Yeah.
But no, he's just got to pop down the gym. But nothing that can't be fixed. We're an hour early, but I'm sure you'll all get on it. So we're just going to go through every single group, give the two that are going to get out of each group stage, set our last 16, and we're going to hopefully pick the winning World Cup selections. So we'll just get a couple of comments out of the way. So the sports capital, who I believe is Munzie's new name, professional name. Doesn't really sound right, does it, Munzie and professional in the same sentence, but it is Munzie. So he's got big up, lad. So big up, Munzie. So those of you might have seen him as Munzie Talks previously and his other shows that he does. But Sports Capital, that is the new brand for Munzie Talks. So head over and catch him out. And here we go, just in case, a bit of disclaimer. Hello, guys, just waiting for Jord, and then we'll start the show. So enjoy it and get involved. I want to hear what you think about each group as well. So we will kick off Group A. So basically, again, a bit shot me load there. So I would do this, but as the number one ranked fantasy manager out there at the moment, number one in all his leagues, it'll only be right to let number two have a go. So we're going to let you go through it, Jord, and I'll just correct you where you're wrong, all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So Group A consists of Holland, Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. You don't have to go through all the individual matchups, but just go through each team, what you think of them, and where you've seeded them, basically.
I mean, Qatar are absolute garbage, aren't they? It's a semi-pro team, but I can almost guarantee you, and I'm actually going to put a tenner on it, they're going to beat Ecuador in the first game. It's pretty much been banded about everywhere that, they're going to get a lucky kind of fluke win. They're going to fix it to make sure that they at least win a game. And with FIFA, it really wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, Phil. Who knows? Who knows? If I was a betting man, which of course I am, I wouldn't be putting any money on Ecuador, because I've got a very strong suspicion something dodgy is going to happen in that first game. But the two teams I spoke about there, Ecuador and Qatar, I don't think they've got a chance of getting out of this group. They're below average team wise. Shout out Enner Valencia in the Ecuador side, by the way, legend. But no, I don't think they've got a chance. Netherlands will top it. I think they'll win all three games, to be honest. Not a lot of people have been really high on this Netherlands team for some reason, but they've got some great young players in there. Frankie de Jong, Cody Gakpo, among others. There's a lot of talent in that team, so I think they've got more than enough firepower to top the group and not really stumble or fall. And then Senegal, I think they lose to the Netherlands, maybe win the other two games. Mane's going to carry the show. Obviously AFCON champions as well, so Koulibaly's in that team, my mate. If Max is watching, I guarantee you will play better for Senegal than he'll ever play in a Chelsea shirt. So, yeah, I think those two go through, Phil. I think it's pretty straightforward, really, in Group A.
I think on that subject, I think that first game is just going to be a complete shitfest. I think it's going to be 0-0. I can't even see there being a shot on target. But it's quite interesting. You've got Holland, who are like this free-flowing, sort of like footballing nation, and they're playing against 3 teams that would probably be quite happy with 0-0s at half-time a game. So each game they're going to be playing, they're going to be trying to break teams down. And I've not got them winning all 3 games, but I've got them top in the group. I think they might draw with Senegal. But yeah, the same as you, I've got them in that order. So Holland, Senegal, Ecuador, Qatar. So I don't think too many people will argue with that order. It would just depend on, I suppose, the Senegal-Ecuador game would be the key for qualification for the second place. But so Holland and Senegal are through. We both agreed on that one. So we'll move through to Group B. This is obviously the one we're all interested in. So you've got England, USA, Iran, and Wales.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go for it in reverse order just because I think this Iran's an interesting one. I've got Wales coming bottom. After seeing how far short they fell at Euro 2022, 2021, 2020, whatever the hell it was, the last Euros, they look like they were lacking a lot. They look like the spirit that they'd had in the previous Euros when they dragged themselves to the semis. Yeah, that was just gone. Bale's done now. You know, I don't care if he's just won an MLS Cup. Doesn't matter. I don't think they're going to pick any points up. To be honest, you know, I don't care either because it's Wales. But yeah, I'd say they're going to come bottom. I've got Iran third, but they're kind of the dark horse in this group because they've got what's his name in charge. That Carlos.
Carlos Queiroz, the one who's been in charge of every single international team out there.
So, you know, he's not a bad manager. He has them very set. They're not easy to break down, the teams that he builds. They've got a very average team. They've obviously got that Taremi up front from Porto, who seems to play every week for them. So, you know, he must be pretty decent. So, yeah, I do think that they fall a little bit short just because I think the pace that the USA and England have got is probably going to come in a bit handy to break them down. So I can see Iran beating Wales, and then that's probably going to be it for them. But it could go either way between the USA and Iran. And when that game is played, the US against Iran, not just for political reasons, but I think on the pitch as well, it's going to be a very interesting watch because that's probably going to decide who goes through in the group. So USA second, you know, they're kind of fortunate they're in a bit of a crappy group because, you know, Pulisic, Reina, you know, a few of the other guys have got Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams, of course. But yeah, I think second will be good enough for them. They've got some nice pieces here and there that can contribute, but, you know, I'd be very surprised if they repeat 2010 and come top. And then England top. I'm going to limit what I say, Phil, because I don't want to be overconfident. But, you know, it should be pretty straightforward for England. Even, you know, they've been out of form lately. I don't think they've played a team as bad as any of these 3 teams recently anyway. So, you know, I'm not too worried. I think we should top the group. And if we don't, I'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, I've got the same order. But I've got a hell of a lot of draws in my one. I actually have us drawing with the USA because I can just see us. It's just an England thing to do. Just drop a silly point and then go and turn it around against Wales in the last game. Wales will probably play the best they've played in like the last 6 years just because it's against us in that last game. But it'll just be a close, edgy game. I've got the rest of them pretty much all drawing with each other by the odd game. So I've got like England well clear on 7, and I think I've got like 3, 2, and 2 for the other points. But again, it's exactly the same order as you. So probably like offended like all of the Welsh viewers out there. But when you look at the team that they publish, you know, when they're all putting their squads up on social media, you look at it and you just think that could have just been like Northampton Town's team for all I was concerned. It's like fresh out of League One.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people that have been called up, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
So we've had a comment, and so obviously you said you're a bit of a betting man, and Mark Hill has said that Ivan Toney is a betting man too. So we have to ask who he's gone for. So Group C. So we've got Argentina, Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. What have you got for this one, mate?
Why don't you go first, Phil? I'll let you go first on this one.
Right. So the way I look at it, that it's a clear top for Argentina. I wouldn't be surprised if they won all the games, although I have got them drawing 2-2 with Poland. Bit of a Lewandowski, Messi dance off on that one. And Saudi Arabia is a clear 4th place for me. Again, could quite easily lose all 3 games for me. struggle to see them getting a point. I think Mexico, it will just be their lack of goals that will kill them. I think they won't ship too many, but I think they'll be involved in too many draws. They lose narrowly to Poland and Argentina, but it will be Argentina, Poland, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia for me. And I think Messi is actually going to have a good tournament this time around. I think might not win the thing, but I think he'll perform. He'll play a hell of a lot better than the tournament where he got that golden ball for a couple of years back. But he'll want to go out on his last World Cup on a high.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not as high on Argentina as some people are. Some people think they're going to run through to the final. I don't. They've got a very old team now. They're aging. They've got some young players. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of the forward options, there's kind of that gap. There's some of the new guys coming through, like Joaquin Correa and some people like that. But they've also got Messi and a load of other players that are mid-30s. So there's a transition period up front. So it's going to be interesting to see how well that attack's flowing and how many goals they're able to score, because I think that's going to hold the key. Obviously, this is the first World Cup as well since Maradona passed away. So there's plenty of motivation there for Argentina to turn up at this tournament. I do think they'll top the group. I think they're going to slip up, but I think they're going to slip up against Mexico. The reason I've gone for Mexico over Poland is because they always seem to turn up at every World Cup. Even if you see the team, you think it's an average team at best or not a great team. They always seem to do something. They always seem to. They're pretty much a safe bet at every tournament to at least get to the knockout stages. So I think I'm going to book the trend and say, yeah, they're going to do it again this year. Poland drop out because Lewandowski has he ever had a good international tournament? I know most of the times they never get out the group stage, but I'm sure he doesn't really do a lot. Whether that's down to the service, I'm not sure.
One of the previous Euros, he finished quite high as one of the top scorers, didn't he? He was right up there, but they got eliminated quite early.
No, right, fair
enough. It was one of the ones where they shared it. It was a couple of countries hosting it.
That was ages ago. Well, I mean, even so, Phil, I feel like they're just lacking too many players. Poland, they've got like 2 or 3 good players, and then they've just got loads of rubbish players. They've obviously got Matty Kashnowski at right back, who will be going for Poland. I believe he's been called up, so I'll have to see how he plays. And then, of course, Saudi Arabia bottom. I couldn't name one player for Saudi Arabia, so that's pretty much sums it up.
Do you think we're like overlooking some of the South American and like Middle East teams, African teams, because of the Middle East and African like teams? Do you think we're overlooking some of them because of the heat and humidity you're going to get out there? Do you think we're just bankrolling Europe here and they're going to actually really struggle with the conditions more than some of these other nations?
Well, I'm not bankrolling Europe. You're the one bankrolling Europe. I'm picking Mexico over Poland, Phil. You got to play the game.
You've picked one. You've picked one so far.
Yeah, but I've got Senegal in the first group. That's an African nation. I don't know. Yeah, it is going to factor in somewhat, but if we're comparing, like, if you go back to Group A, if you're comparing Netherlands to Ecuador, I don't care how hot it is. You've got a way more classy team against. It's not like that's the only thing that's going to split them. There's a massive gulf in class between two teams. So I don't think you'll really notice it until the knockout stages, especially if it goes to extra time and things like that, because the humidity probably will factor in. But again, it depends who's playing each other. Because if you get a top European side like France against, I don't know, Costa Rica, they're not going to have any issues, you wouldn't have thought. So,
well, watch this place. So, just for clarity, I've got Argentina and Poland going through. You've got Argentina and Mexico. So that is the first disagreement on there. So we're going to Group D. I think this one's pretty straightforward. So we've got France, Denmark, Tunisia, and Australia. So I'll go first again then. So I've actually got France and Denmark joint top, but France on goal difference, both on 7 points. I think they're going to draw 2-2 when they play each other and absolutely tank the other two teams. I can see maybe Denmark won't get as good a win against Tunisia and they won't spank Australia as heavily as France. But I think France probably beat Australia about 4-0, if I'm being honest, and then they'll just be sort of 2-0, 3-1 against Tunisia. Denmark will beat Australia by a couple of goals and Tunisia by 1 goal. They'll draw with each other, the two teams at the bottom. So it'll be 2 teams on 7, 2 teams on 1 for me. But Tunisia having a better goal difference than Australia. So my order will be France on 7, Denmark on 7, Tunisia on 1, and Australia on 1.
Yeah, order. I mean, I don't know if you know, Phil, but Australia, their government have basically said that they're going to cut, absolutely slash funding to football. And they're going to start putting it elsewhere because they just don't see it as a sport that's really necessary. Obviously, there's a lot of other sports that they're very good at: rugby, cricket, swimming mainly. So they see it that it's better to put their resources into things that they're already good at rather than trying to flog a dead horse because they've never really done anything in a World Cup. So there's a reason at the bottom. In any other year, you'd probably say they're pretty much just a safe third. But, they're going to struggle because the team is pretty dire. There's not really any notable names in that team. There's no Tim Cahill's like they had in previous World Cups. There's not that one standout player who can try and carry you to a couple of results. They don't have that anymore. The new Tim Cahill is basically Aaron Moy, and I think we know that's probably going to work out now. He's playing in the back arse of China somewhere. So I've got them bottom, then Tunisia. Don't really have too much to say about Tunisia, but I think they'll probably scrape a result against Australia. Denmark second, and then top France. Now, France, I think they're going to win every game. The reason for that is that I know they've had some difficulties recently. The things haven't been gelling. They've had a couple of poor results. But there's been a lot of movement in that team. Deschamps has brought in a lot of players that didn't have previous experience, like Southgate should have been doing. I think he's capped well over 60 players this year, both some that have returned to the team, so previously been capped, or others that have never received the cap. So over 60 different call-ups this year in the friendlies and the Nations League. That's what Southgate should have been doing. Then you figure out who can fit the team the best, and then you pick the players based on that. And although most of the players that he's picked were probably going to go anyway, and some of these call-ups haven't made a difference, at least give him options. And I think that's perhaps why they've had some bad results along the way. But I think they'll win every game. Wouldn't surprise me if they went all the way, but we'll get onto that later, I know for a fact. But yeah, I think they'll win every game. Griezmann's going to score 4 in the group stage, I think. He's going to show Mbappe, I'm still the leader of this French team up front, so you can piss off. I don't know what's happening with Benzema. Is he fit?
I don't know. I think it's one of those where they'll just leave it till last knock-ins. Like they'll try and play him, but it's a bit like Mane, isn't it? He's potentially going to miss a game or two at the start, but don't think they should be really worrying about getting out of the group. As long as he's fit for the knockout stage, they'll be all right.
Yeah, especially with some of the people who've got up front already. Mbappe. It's when Mbappe's you understood. You don't have much to worry about, do you?
Yeah, they're not lacking, are they? So just for clarity, we've got the same order then: France, Denmark, Tunisia, Australia, France, and Denmark going through. So we'll just try and catch up with the comments because they've been firing in. So where are we? So Munzi, you said 12, 1 o'clock, not 12. Jordan. Yeah, late changes there. Sorry, Munzi. Jordan had other commitments. Big up, lads. When you come in on the NFL show, Daddy, 2 things. When Pittsburgh get a winning record, and I've got to go on Jordan's show first because he's touted me for the NBA, but I've got to wait till the Lakers actually win a game till I can go on there as well.
You'll be waiting a while.
me and John sulking in the corner. Jordan doesn't know anything about football. He's a Leeds fan. Fair point. And this was on Australia. So you were saying about the announcement that I heard the announcement that they're cutting the funding. Was that recently, or was that like 20 years ago that they announced?
No, it was like probably in the last 12 months, maybe. It's fairly recent.
I thought they'd been cutting it since like Harry Kewell and Mark Viduka retired, but
they've been slowly cutting it. But I think now they've like fully slashed through the budget, so like it's all going to go. They're getting rid of grassroots football in Australia. There will still be grassroots football available, but it'll be privately funded. The government aren't going to put any funding into it. So the Australian FA won't subsidise that anymore.
So as Munzi was saying, they're excellent at the swimming though. And he's said that Moy is now at Celtic. So says it already, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, lads. Afternoon panel. So, big up, Graham. Not sure if he's going to have time for a live, but I think he's going to try and do something during the World Cup. But anyway, we'll crack on. So, we go to Group E now. So, this one's quite a tasty one, although probably quite easy to work out the top two. So, you've got Spain, Germany, Costa Rica, Japan. What order are you going for in this one, Jordy?
I'm going to go Spain top. And the reason for that is I think we saw flashes at the Euros. I mean, they should have beat Italy in the semi-final. They really should. They had so many chances. They've got a nice team. You know, like we said before, or like I've said before, they don't have a standout player. But when Spain won all the things that they won, they didn't have one outstanding player. They had a team of brilliant players. And I know that they don't have that anymore. They don't have a team of brilliant players, but they're a whole unit. They're a whole team. There's not really one area where you'd say they're weak. Keeper, they've got a range of very solid keepers. They've not took the Hay, which is a strange one to me, but they've still got solid keepers. They've got Carvajal at right back. Left back, they've got about 5 options there. They can throw anyone in. Centre halves, Laporte, Pau Torres. They've got so many options. Midfield, again, Pedri, Gavi, Busquets, all these guys that know the system and some young guys coming through. If that's the midfield 3 for Spain at this tournament, Busquets, Pedri and Gavi, they all play together. So that's going to be, you know, I think they're a real dark horse at this tournament, Spain. I do rate the chances. I think they top the group. Germany and Spain might be a draw, but they should win the other 2 games. So then Germany second, like I said, they'll probably win the other 2 and then draw with Spain, so they'll be level. I just think Spain might just be a bit more ruthless with some of the pacey people they've got up top. Then Costa Rica over Japan. And the reason for that is Costa Rica always seem to do something at World Cups. Obviously, 2014, they topped a group with England and Italy in it. So they always seem to manage to do something, even though they don't really have anyone of note. So I think they'll probably get a win against Japan, but then lose the other 2 games. And then Japan, I think, unfortunately, probably lose all 3 games and they'll finish bottom.
Yeah, so I've got the same order there. A few people have said to me they think Spain will top this group as well, which sort of goes against the narrative of Germany always turning up and dominating their group. But I think their team's getting a bit older now, isn't it? When you look at some of the players on there, they're like players that you sort of raise an eyebrow at, just thinking, well, thought he'd bloody not retired, but you sort of haven't even seen them at their club level, and you think, oh, they're still knocking about. And there's not a lot coming from them. When you still got like Thomas Muller at Bayern Munich, I know he's still producing like the assists and stuff, but you wouldn't have thought 4 or 6 years ago he was still going to be knocking about at these tournaments. You'd think a new wave would have come in to replace some of them by now, like they always tend to do. But it just sort of feels like it's the same team they've had for the last couple of years, really, isn't it? Nothing's really moved on.
Well, I mean, they are taking a couple of young guys. They're taking that Makuko from Dortmund, so they're at least sampling some younger talent. Obviously, I know Sané is not young, but they are taking Sané. And you know, I've not, for some reason, I think Germany's the only team that I've not actually seen the squad sheet for, that like a team of note. But I'm predicting, obviously, that surely they're taking Sané and people like that. So there is that range of ages. I don't think that they're overly relying on older players. I think they're taking the right amount. I mean, like we said in the show about the England side, Phil, I said Henderson because it's going to give you that leadership and experience. And I think Germany probably have the right balance between the 2, older and younger. It doesn't always work out that way, of course.
Yeah, I just think there'd be one or two too many on the pitch to compete like with the legs of Spain. That's the only reason I've separated them in a group. But we'll see, Germany always seem to find a way of turning up in tournaments. But just to confirm, we've got Spain top in the group, Germany going through in second, Costa Rica and Japan making up the numbers. So Group F. So again, I'll let you go first on this one. So it's Belgium, Croatia, Morocco and Canada. I can't see there been too many difficulties on this one. So far away.
Yeah, in the exact order you just said, Phil. Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, Canada. I think that's how it ends. Canada, I mean, they've got Davis and they've got Jonathan David. That's about it. They've not got anything else. Most of the players are, very, professional footballers is generous. So I don't think they've got much chance, to be honest. Morocco, they've got a couple of decent players, people that I actually know. They've got Ziyech, who I must admit played the worst game of Champions League football I've seen all season. So hopefully he turns up in a Morocco shirt and plays a bit better than that. But I think they're just cannon fodder. Can't see him doing much. Morocco probably beat Canada, lose to the rest. Canada lose to everybody. Belgium beat everybody, and then Croatia comes second. Croatia probably not the strongest that they have been in recent years. Speaking of an aging side, I mean they are a very old team now. Modric is 38, or is he older than that? I'm not sure. He's around that age. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he's around there. But it's weird. You keep writing him off all the time, but he still keeps producing, doesn't he? So he's still getting games at Real Madrid as well, which again is. Thought they're trying to tout replacements for the last two transfer windows, haven't they? But he still seems to hold his place.
Well, I think with Real Madrid, they've got the replacements. They've got Camavinga and Tchouameni, but it's like they're a bit young yet. So they'll give Kroos and Modric probably one more season, and then they'll either move them on or they'll just not be playing much. But look at Busquets at Barcelona. He still plays every game, and he's the same age as him. And Barcelona have got they've got plenty of young midfielders, but they still trust Busquets. So maybe Modric is just that evergreen player that's always going to be there until he retires. I don't know. But going forward, Croatia, they've not really got much, have they? I nearly thought that Vlahovic was for them, but he's not. He's Serbian, isn't he? So yeah, they've not really got much in attack apart from Kramaric, if you count that. I don't know. Belgium. Now I'm gonna talk about them a little bit later on, Phil. So all I'll say for now is that I think they'll win all three games. They've still got the best midfielder in the world, pulling the strings, and that's all that matters really. I think this easily gets in this group.
Well, I'm going to shout it out now. I couldn't believe this when I saw this one. People say about favourite backing, but Belgium against Canada 1-2 you can get at some bookmakers for Belgium. I just think that is literally printing free money.
Yeah, I mean, if you had it, you'd be putting like 200 grand on that. That's
exactly.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got the same order there. So Belgium top the group. I think pretty much see them winning all the games unless they stumble against Croatia. Croatia can make it quite difficult, but I expect them to win all the games. Again, Croatia, I think they'll just have too much for Morocco. But I can see Morocco being competitive in all the games, but still coming third. And Canada is just chuff. It's going to get 0 points. So moving through, so I'll start off this one. Again, we've got these last two groups, we've got differences in. So Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia and Cameroon. For me, basically, like it's a no-brainer. Brazil are going to win this group. Whether they win them all or get 7 points, it's still going to be an easy win. And Switzerland, it's hard to tell with them because sometimes they turn up and they're really good, and then sometimes they turn up and they're just absolute pony. And Serbia have been impressing me in qualification recently. So I'm going to have Serbia just edging Switzerland into the second place, and then Cameroon literally just making up the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go through it in reverse order because I think it's pretty obvious. Cameroon bottom, Brazil top, win every game. I mean that Brazil team, I just can't believe how perfect that Brazil team is. It's just so well balanced. They've got everything that you need. And to top it off, they've got two goalkeepers who would be starting for pretty much every other country at the World Cup, and one of them is going to be on the bench. So the middle two, it's interesting. Serbia probably do have a better team on paper. They've got Vlahovic, they've got Kostic, obviously both play together at Juventus. That's going to help. We've got some other good players in the mix. Mitrovic, of course, but he's not going. So, they do have a couple of standout players, the kind of players that can win you games. That a lot of other teams that we've discussed already coming in second and third in some of these groups don't have. So it could tell, but I'm still sure, even though he's in the middle of obscurity in that Swiss league, we're still going to see a moment of magic from Shaqiri because he does it at every single tournament. So he's guaranteed to score a rocket or do something spectacular. And they've got Xhaka, who always seems like I know he's been pretty good at Arsenal this season. He always seems fantastic when he plays for Switzerland. So, I've got Switzerland coming second. He's going. All right. So, well, either way, Mark, it's not going to swing me. That's not a deciding factor. I'm going to stay with Switzerland. They've got some other players that are pretty decent in Switzerland as well. I know they've got Zakaria, but he's never fit. Kanji that got you them jammy points in that City game, Phil. I could not believe that happened.
That was an inspired substitution.
One
game, one assist.
Ridiculous. How was that an assist, by the way? He just like bobbled. It hit his leg, and then anyway, I'm not talking about that.
Last player to touch it, mate. Last player to touch it counts.
So yeah, that's the order: Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, and Cameroon. But that Switzerland-Serbia game, I'm going to be watching that 100%. I mean, I'll probably be watching most of the games, but that'll be one I'm looking forward to. I think it'll be a really interesting one, possibly one of the better games in the group stage.
Yeah, so obviously just to summarise, so we've both gone for Brazil and Cameroon first and fourth, and then it's going to be down to the Switzerland-Serbia game to decide number 2 and 3, and we've both gone either way on that one. So final group game, again, it's not going to take a genius to pick the group winner on this one, so I'm going to say Portugal win this one. I think Uruguay will just sneak second place. Ghana are making up the numbers, and South Korea, they'll give it a go, but they'll just fall short. Possibly losing 1-0 to Uruguay will probably be their downfall. But so I've got it in the order that Portugal win. They might not get out of second gear properly like they do at other tournaments, but they'll do enough to get through. They'll get 9 or 7 points. Uruguay will be on around the 5-point mark. South Korea maybe on 3. Ghana 0 or 1. So your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of my mates is watching GT, right? And I've already said I'm going to cheer Ghana. All his family are from like Ghana originally and things like that. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get behind the Black Stars at this tournament. And he's like, yeah, but his confidence isn't that high on Ghana. And unfortunately, although I hope that they'll do something, I do think they'll finish bottom of the group. They've just got too many issues. Like when Andre Ayew is your talisman, he is so old and so washed up, and he's playing.
He's a captain as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's playing what? Is he playing in still for Swansea? Like,
yeah, he's still on the
books. Not good enough. It's not good enough, in my opinion. They'd have been better off taking Asamoah Gyan. I don't care. I know he said he would come out of retirement, or he's not actually retired and he's available. I would have took him, because what else are you going to do at this tournament? You might as well just take him for the nostalgia. And just let everybody watch him. Even if he just came over a few minutes, it'd be great. But I think unfortunately they're going to get beat by everybody. They might pull off a result against someone, but I don't really know who that someone is. And ever since I sent you this list, Phil, I was like, yeah, I probably should have had Uruguay over South Korea. But I'm sticking to my guns, because there's bound to be one team that gets through that neither of us have picked. It's always the case. It never works out straightforward. And I just feel like Uruguay might stumble a little bit. I know Darwin Núñez has been terrible when he's played for Uruguay. He's not really done much. His goals per night is way down compared to when he's played for Liverpool and Benfica previously. So, yeah, I don't know if they've got enough up front, really. Speaking of Asamoah Gyan, you could have given Diego Forlan a call and got him to come out of retirement and play for them. But, yeah, I think they still finished third. And then, fresh back from injury, Heung-min Son is coming to carry South Korea to the last 16. I'd love it if they got through, just because I can remember at the last World Cup when Germany got sat down by South Korea.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Like when they were attacking all games, just constantly back, and then South Korea got one counter-attack scored. So, hopefully they can get something, because they've not done anything at a World Cup since, 2002? And, they've had some decent players, obviously, like Ji-sung Park as well down the line. So, this is not a bad opportunity, but, it's a shame they've landed in a group that's got 2 pretty good teams in it. Because if you could have dropped them, like even in the England group, and replaced USA with South Korea, I think they easily qualify. So, it's a bit unlucky. However, top of the group is Portugal. Ronaldo, it probably will play. They should still be doing, more than enough. They've got a very good team. And, again, another team that are quietly going under the radar as well, I think, Phil.
Well, he's going to be on one, isn't he, after the week that's just gone as well. So, so just to recap, so we've both got Portugal top. You've got Korea going through in second. I've got Uruguay going knocked through. So we're just the other way around, and then Ghana making up the numbers. So that leads us to the round of 16. And we'll just do it in order left to right as the ties would go out. Obviously, these are all hypothetical, assuming we've even got the group stages right. Probably get about 4 of these wrong, knowing us, and have to redo them all after the group. So, first game's going to throw up Netherlands versus USA. Again, we won't go into like the dynamics of it because it's just a hypothetical, but we're all quite confident how this one's going to play out.
I'm just going to pretend that this is, definitely the last 16, just to make it a bit more fun. Like, this is 100%. I'm seeing into the future. This is 1,000% happening. Just so I've got something to discuss. Netherlands, like I said before, good players in that team, very solid team, young team that are looking to prove something, and a USA team that just aren't. They're not there. So. Easy for, I think, maybe a 3-0 Netherlands win, maybe a 4-0 Netherlands win if they're really up for it. I think they can batten down the hatches against the USA.
Yeah, I think it's one of these where like it's more or less certainly Holland are going to top this group and USA are going to come second in the other group. It's probably close to being the biggest banker you could predict maybe in the last 16 to play each other. So, and again, I think that would just be USA's reward for getting through the group, or just be a swift return ticket home. So again, like you say, it's going to be a good 2-3-4-0 win for Holland, and no dramas there. So moving down, obviously this could depend on the way the group goes, because I remember the last time they were in the same group, didn't Denmark beat France in the group stage recently? So could end up being with Argentina-France, which would be carnage early on. But if it goes the way we've predicted, Argentina v Denmark, who would then play the winners of Holland.
With a bit of luck, Phil, if that did happen, it gives England another easy run to the semi-final.
Yeah, exactly. Everything going our way.
I'll be cheering Denmark on against France before. But yeah, realistically, I think this is probably the way it's going to go. Your luck's going to run out at some point. We've had 2 easy runs. It's very likely you're going to get a third. So, yeah, Argentina, Denmark. Argentina. I mean, I don't need to say much more than that. They've got Messi. Denmark down. Denmark also. They have that team spirit. I know I was saying about Wales. They do seem to find something at major tournaments. I mean, Kasper Dolberg, he's done nothing for the last 3 seasons. And then at the last Euros, he scored 2 against Wales and looked unbelievable. So they've got these players that seem to only play well in a Denmark shirt. And, they've been rank outsiders in a major tournament and won it before. And that was without their best player, Michael Laudrup, when they did that in 96, I think it was. So, you never know. They could upset Argentina. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I just don't think they have a real chance in terms of personnel. I think Argentina just way overmatch them.
Yeah, no, it was Euro 92. Jord, and I think they weren't even meant to be there. I think they were the 17th team, and
it was Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia.
They got kicked out, didn't they?
They couldn't go because of obviously the whole dissolution of Yugoslavia happened. So yeah, Denmark got the call, and Michael Laudrup said he wasn't going, so his brother went and won it without him.
So yeah, and obviously the way my predictions worked, I had Argentina, Denmark in this stage, and again, only one winner in that one, Argentina for me. A bit like you said, luck will run out for Denmark as well. Done well, but this will be all she wrote on that one. So same side of the draw, Spain versus Croatia. Is this a straightforward one, or do you think Croatia will give them a go?
Again, I think it's pretty straightforward. After what I said about the Spain team, I think they are a complete team, and Croatia is over-reliant on 1 or 2 players. So, it's going to be a battle in midfield, though, for sure, because obviously it's going to be Brozovic, Modric, whoever else. Rakitic, maybe, I don't know who they're playing there now, against like the 3 I've already mentioned, Galvi, Pedri, Busquets, or whoever else, or Marcus Llorente maybe gets a run out instead of Busquets, I don't know. But yeah, I think that in that battle, Spain pretty comfortably win. They've got faster, more mobile midfielders, I think, than Croatia, and that's gonna swing the pendulum, I think, pretty comfortably towards Spain. So, yeah, I mean, do you know what I was just realised as well, Phil? I actually don't think it's a bad bet. I know we did our gambling thing the other week, but I don't think it's a bad bet to put Ferran Torres Golden Boot winner. I think he's going to score quite a few goals at this World Cup. I'm thinking 5-6 goals. It's been enough in the past.
I'm just imagining us clipping this in about 4 weeks' time, and it'd be the advertising campaign for like just don't do it and stuff like that. It'll be like,
yeah. Well, while you're talking, anyway, we're just going to check his price, because if it's like 100 to 1, I'm going to have to put a couple of quid on it.
But yeah, so for me, again, I'm going Spain with this one. I think Croatia, they will get out of the group as we predicted, but a lot of old legs in that team, and I think Spain will not romp it, but they'll have enough to do this one. So again, that's 3 teams we've agreed on, and we're going to come up to a game now where we've actually got different opponents on this one. So for the sake of your prediction, we're calling it Brazil versus South Korea. On my prediction, it'd be Brazil versus Uruguay, but I don't think this is going to make a difference, is it? I think this is just the Brazil show. They're just going to come in, they're going to beat whoever the opponent is 2 to 3-0. Maybe it'll make a bit of a difference if it's Uruguay, because it's like a rivalry for the usual tournament, but if it's South Korea, I'll probably see it being slightly easier for them. They'll just wipe the floor with them. Uruguay, it might be a bit more of a bitty game, but either way, I don't see Brazil not winning regardless of the opponent from the other group.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to catch Brazil out is something I'm going to talk about in the hypothetical quarterfinal. So I'll keep it under my hat for now. But yeah, I think they're going to easily beat South Korea. Or Uruguay. I don't think it makes a difference. Like you said, it'd probably be a bit more nasty if it's Uruguay. There'll be some bad tackles and it'll be a closer game. But maybe that does give Uruguay a chance as opposed to South Korea. But I think either way, they've just got too much quality, and the cream always does rise to the top eventually. So I think Brazil, regardless, get through the last 16. But I will just reiterate again. If it is Uruguay, it's a potential banana skin for Brazil, and I'm pretty sure they will be fully aware of that.
Yeah. So that's a clean sweep on the left side of the draw. So we've got Holland, Argentina, Spain, and Brazil making it through to the quarter. So we go to the right side of the draw. So we've got England versus Senegal. So is it going to be that easy for England, or is Sadio Mane going to show us all what we're missing this year in England? What do you reckon?
Probably not. And the main reason is in defence, they've got an absolute lump of coal that is rubbish. So, anyone against him is just going to dribble around him, walk past him, just have a natter with him while they're walking through with a ball. He's garbage. So, yeah, I think we'll probably just outscore Senegal, if anything. I would expect Mane to get on the score sheet, definitely. But I can't see. Surely they can't balls this up. It's a very favourable last 16 tie to a Senegal team that are going to have a Mane that's maybe not even going to be fully fit. They've got to be taking this chance. They've got to punish Senegal.
There you go. Got a comment from the Don Jones favourite backing boys.
Coming from Graham.
That's coming from the massive outside in backing Graham of an Argentina-France final and Messi getting the golden boot. Rank outsider that he's predicted there. But anyway, yeah, so England-Senegal again, I think it'll be a game you'd be happy with if you was England manager. It's like a dream last 16 tie, and I can see them winning by 2 clear goals, making it through safely to the quarterfinals. So moving through, this one we disagreed on as well. So you've got it as France versus Mexico. I have it marked up as France versus Poland. So again, do you think it matters which of them teams play? It's just going to be a France win. You're on mute, mate.
Yeah, pretty much, Phil. I think the quality is just too much for either team. There was a guy as well that I just remembered for Poland. I did miss out. Piotr Zielinski. I did forget to mention him. So he's another potential X factor of that Poland team in the groups.
The Napoli guy.
Yeah, same guy. So I don't know. Either way, Mexico, Poland, I don't think it makes a difference. But both of them are way overmatched by France. And yeah, it should be a pretty comfortable win, really, for a French side that have got so much talent. And it's just been an issue with putting it all together lately. So hopefully they will get it done here.
Yeah. So again, I can't argue with that. I think France are too good at the moment, and they will just steamroll whichever one of these they play. So moving on to this one, this should be quite a game, probably the tired round if it all pans out like this. So Belgium versus Germany. So is it? A lot of people are doubting Belgium as well because obviously they had sort of like that golden era that they've still sort of got those players, but like your Hazards have gone to the wayside now. Lukaku's not the player he was. Still got KDB there. A lot of defenders have either retired or gone past their shelf life now. So is it as easy to say Belgium are just going to romp this, or would you say the same thing with Germany? It's like two sides that have seen better days, and just the best one on the day is going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag now because I think it's more relevant for me to say what I think about Belgium at the moment. They are my dark horse in this tournament, and it's not really that close. I'm pretty sweet on them to prove the doubters wrong because they've had so much pressure on this team for the last 3 tournaments. Everyone expecting them to win something, which wasn't helped when, KDB, and this is kind of a bit funny to me, when he basically took the rise out of England and said, unlike England, we're not going to waste our golden generation. We're going to win trophies. You've won fuck all. But either way, I think now the pressure's off them. They've got some good players still available. Like I said, best midfielder in the world, Kevin De Bruyne. They've got Lukaku, who, he might be past it a little bit at the moment, but he still seems to do it for Belgium. So I still think he's going to get a fair few goals, and I think they win this, Phil. I really do. I really do think they win this. Germany, okay, maybe better on paper at the moment, but they've got things that they need to sort out. They're still in a bit of a transitional period. Is it all together yet? Probably not. So, without the pressure and the big lights being on Belgium, I think they've got a great chance here to go and have a nice run in the tournament and just sort of say, look, we're not finished yet.
Okay. Obviously, I've agreed that Belgium will progress here, but for me, it will depend on how the game goes. If it's quite a flowing game, I can see Belgium taking it quite comfortably because I think they have got better technical players. But I think Germany, if it gets bitty and bitey, I can see them shithousing their way through this one. Just a bit of German efficiency in there. But if it's a scrappy game, I can see Germany, a bit like they did with us last year in the Euros, where they had a good chance to beat us in that game, but we just took our chances. I can possibly see it being a bit of a similar game where Belgium take the chances and they're just a bit more clinical in the right times. But yeah, so both of us, Belgium going through on this one, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a good game, though, definitely. Like you said, Phil, Tyler Arm, probably.
Yeah. So last one of the last 16 now. So Portugal versus Switzerland is marked up, although I've got it Portugal versus Serbia. Again, are we going to say that makes a difference which team they play?
Probably not, because it's the same story. It's another overmatched team. They've got too many better players than Serbia or Switzerland. Then again, Switzerland Euros beat France. No one saw that coming, and that France team at that time were better than Portugal are right now. So
yeah, exactly.
You never know. Like you said, in this kind of format, unlike a Champions League where there's 2 legs, it's a one and done game. So if you don't turn up and you're not at it, anyone can beat anyone. Well, obviously within reason. So yeah, they're not invincible. No team's invincible, but with the players that they've got available at the disposal, and the way they've handled themselves at the last couple of tournaments, they've not disgraced themselves. Obviously, won 2016. Last World Cup wasn't a disaster. Last Euros probably did as well as can be expected. So yeah, I think Portugal will beat, regardless, Serbia, Switzerland, either team. I think they'll get through to the quarters.
So right, that's the round of 16 tied up. So Daddy and the Jord have selected Holland, Argentina, Spain, Brazil, England, France, Belgium, and Portugal for an absolutely stacked quarterfinal. No small teams or outsiders making it through on this. So we've definitely bollocksed it up here, haven't we? We've definitely fucked it already. So let's say now we go to quarterfinals. We'll just go quarterfinal 1. So this is going to be Netherlands versus Argentina. So I'll let you go first because we've got a difference on this one. So I'll let you go first.
What a cracking game, by the way, this would be. This would be fantastic. I'll cut straight to the chase. I've gone for the Dutchman, the Netherlands, to beat Argentina. And I think it's going to come down to the work rate that the Netherlands can offer that Argentina can't. They're going to press all game. They're going to press the team the whole game. They're going to have no issues. They've got youth over Argentina. Lautaro Martinez, I'm not convinced he's all that, to be honest, Phil. And he plays in Italy, which is a slow league. So there's a lot of balls in the air. There's a lot of through balls, things like that. It's not the kind of build-up play that we're used to seeing. A lot of crosses and things like that. Now the Netherlands are going to line up, presumably, if it's a back three, with De Vrij, De Ligt, and Van Dijk. Now that defense to me says that he's got no chance of doing anything. That they're all great in the air. De Vrij obviously plays in the same team as him, so he's going to know how he ticks and the things to look out for. And I think it's a great matchup for the Netherlands defensively. And like I've not mentioned yet, I think on paper the Netherlands have got the best defense at this tournament. Those three centre halves, I think there's not a team that can offer three better centre halves than the Netherlands. So, I think that they are good to beat Argentina here. Obviously, going forward, they've got that guy. I'm saying he's going to be the star boy of the tournament, Cody Gakpo. I think he's going to have a great World Cup. And although Leeds were rumoured to sign him for 30 million last summer, chairman decided it was too much money to stump up, and now he's going to be worth closer to 330 million after this tournament's finished. I think the Netherlands, and I really do want them to go on a nice run. Semis are due for me, but yeah, I think they're going to beat Argentina. Phil, what do you think?
Yeah, I can see Holland turning up to this one because they've obviously had a couple of stinkers over the last few. But I just think it's going to be a tight game. I think Argentina will keep the score low, and it will just be like maybe a little bit of messy magic that finishes it for me. So I can see them winning, maybe not a 1-0 game, but maybe a 2-1. A bit like when they played, was it 98 World Cup when Bergkamp had that bit of magic at the end of the game, with time expiring. Might be the other way around this time. So Messi gets revenge. So you've got Holland going through. I've got Argentina going through. So we've already split our playoff tree at the moment. So we're going to the next.
Phil, to be fair, the one big thing that the Netherlands are missing is a striker. I mean, Depay, but he's not going to be good enough.
Well, he's been injured as well. He's not.
Yeah, I think they are taking him, but either way, I mean, that's the big concern for me. It's the goal scoring. The defense is fine, but yeah, we'll have to see whether maybe they put Gakpo through the middle. I've got no idea, but yeah, I'd still be taking the Netherlands.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the game where the winner will play. So this is Spain versus Brazil. For me, I don't know how close the game's going to be, but I just can't go against Brazil in a game like this. I just think they'll have too much of a tempo. There's too much of a skill difference, and I think they've just got too much firepower. They've got the ability to just outscore opponents, and I think they'll go like they have historically, where they'll just go out there thinking if they concede 3, they've just got to go and score 4, and they've got the personnel on the pitch to actually do it.
Now, if there is a banana skin for Brazil, this is it. This is the big test for me for this Brazil team. They're going to come up against a very disciplined Spain team that are going to know that they're underdogs and they're not going to care about it one bit. This is why you should have took Sergio Ramos, this game right here. You put him on the pitch and you let him get straight into Neymar. That's what you do. That's a big mistake for me from Luis Enrique. These kind of games, you're going to need someone like that out there, and they don't have it. And I think that kind of thing is going to kind of ruin it because, like you said, I think Spain are going to keep them at bay, but then I think the house of cards is going to come crashing down in the last 15, 20 minutes. I think it'll be a very, very close game, obviously, unless there's a very early goal. But I think 70, 75 minutes is going to be a 0-0, not much in it. And then I think you're going to see a moment of magic, and then the floodgates will start opening. Although I think Spain have got a good chance, and this is definitely no guarantee, I would be taking Brazil to come out of this.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same. I think Spain will try and contain, but if Brazil get a goal, especially in the first half, I can just see them adding to that, and the game, as it becomes stretched, just getting more and more goals. So I think Brazil win it by about 2 goals. But so we both got Brazil through. You've got them playing Holland. I've got them playing Argentina. We'll go to the other side of the group now. So England versus France. First thing that sticks out on paper to me is I think, I'd rather just lose on penalties to Senegal than have to watch this game, because I think they're just going to absolutely dick all over us. I think it won't even be close. We'll try and defend, and it'll be our downpour, if that makes sense. It'll be like we'll try and contain them, and they'll just score even more past us, and then we'll be not set to get back in the game because we put too many defensive personnel on, and it'll just be one of those like carnage finishes where Southgate will come under pressure again for his selection.
Yeah, Phil, I'm just going to say right now, it's almost making me laugh. Imagining a defence of Harry Maguire, John Stones, and Eric Dyer defending Karim Benzema and Kylian Mbappe. It almost makes me cringe. It is a horrible thought. He's just going to run him ragged. Like, if you play a high line with Maguire, Mbappe blows past him through on goal easy. If you play deep, Benzema's just going to take a shot from anywhere and it's going to go in. Or Mbappe's just going to do a little couple of dribbles, sit Maguire on his arse and slot it home. It's going to be a bloodbath. I think we're going to get hammered against France. It's going to be one of those games where France will be like, well, they've said that we're kind of not getting it together now, but they're saying the same about England, so let's go and show the world that we're still just as good as ever. And I think we're going to bear the brunt of that, and it's going to be really nasty, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see this one getting a bit messy as well, and I think France could well have just clicked into gear by that stage as well, because it'd be the 5th game, and yeah, it could get a bit tasty. So, who will France play? So you got Belgium versus Portugal. I think we know who you're going for this one, so I'll kick off. I've actually gone for an upset of sorts in this one. I think it'll be a close game. Portugal are renowned for being very good defensively and being the master of the 1-0 win. And I can just see them frustrating Belgium. And the longer this game goes on, it might even go to penalties, but I can just see them, a bit like how they won the Euros against France, maybe go to extra time and they nick it against the run of play. Portugal go through, very narrow win for me.
Well, like I've said, Phil, my dark horses, I'm picking Belgium. Just because I think, it's going to be that kind of game, isn't it, where it's really trappy. There's not much momentum. Teams turning the ball over, and, it's going to be pretty end-to-end, and it's going to come down to the midfield area. And, yeah, Portugal have got Bernardo Silva, fantastic player. But who does he play second fiddle to at Manchester City? The guy on the other team, Kevin De Bruyne. Portugal got to play a high line like they usually do. It's going to be a very high line. And it's a perfect recipe for De Bruyne, Lukaku through on goal. And I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a 1-0. I agree with you there. To Belgium. I think they're going to frustrate Portugal. And then it's going to be a counter-attack. Kevin De Bruyne, high line, going to catch him out through to Lukaku, and he's going to slam it in, and Belgium go through to the semis.
Okay, so basically we've just got 2 differences. So I think I've got Argentina v Brazil on one side, France versus Portugal on the other. You've got Holland, Brazil, and France versus Belgium. So with that said and done, we'll crack on to the semi-final. So we'll do it on your tick. So it's Netherlands versus Brazil. I've got Argentina versus Brazil, but without spoiling it too much, we've both gone for the same winner here. So do you want to tell us why?
Yeah, this is where the road ends for the Netherlands. If they do get to the semis, it's going to be a fantastic comeback after, a miserable few years. So it will be a nice return for the Dutch FA and the national team. But yeah, they don't have enough to live with Brazil. And unlike in the quarters where I've said against Argentina, they can give them the runaround. That won't happen against Brazil. They've got a much better midfield, and more mobile, and much more pressing going on in that midfield area. The one thing is, you won't get any pressing out of Neymar up front. So it will give that defence a little bit more time. Brazil, I think, will win, but I'd be surprised if they smash the Netherlands. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. It'll be a 0-1 or a 1-2 game, something like that. But yeah, they should beat them, but they'll do it in kind of champion style where they maybe don't look as good as they have played and will play in the final. But yeah, they should turn up and do the business. So I'll take Brazil.
Yeah, well, I think you'd like to think a semi-final of a World Cup, there shouldn't really be too many smash-ins like the Brazil-Germany back in the day, but it should be the best of the best, and there should be close games, really. And obviously, I've got Argentina v Brazil, and I think this will be a really close, really bitey game, but Argentina will just be that slightly bit of an older team, maybe a bit of a slower team, and Brazil will just have the edge over them. So for me, I'm going with a Brazil, probably the one goal in it as well. So both got Brazil making the final. So we'll head over, see who they're going to play. So in your world, it's France versus Belgium. Again, we've got the same winner here. I've got France versus Portugal. So if you want to just go through and say why you think France beat Belgium, basically. No, you haven't. No, we've done different. You tell us why France don't make the final.
France don't make the final because I'm riding this Belgium train all the way to the final. I'm not giving up on it now. Now, I will admit that the main reason I've picked Belgium is because we know there's going to be an upset at some point. One big team, at least, well, more than one big team, but one favourite is expected to fall before the final. It happens at every tournament. And I think it will be France. It might even be France before this stage. But Belgium, it's a disciplined team. France are going to be running around like headless chickens. I think that's how they're going to play the tournament. They're going to be winning games 3-4-0, and then they're going to rock up against Belgium, and it's going to be, no, you're not going to get 3 past us. So they've obviously got Courtois, who is arguably the best keeper in the world. So he's going to be called upon, and he will do his job in net. I really do. I think it's going to be like Portugal in the final of the Euro 2016, where France is going to keep peppering them, and they're not going to get any joy because you're going to get a keeper on the other end that's playing fantastically well. And then it's going to be the same recipe. I think they're going to live on this throughout the tournament. KDB through to Lukaku. That's going to be replicated at least 3 or 4 times at this World Cup. I'm sure of it. And that's going to catch him out. It's going to be 1-0. Instead of 1-0 to the Arsenal, it'll be 1-0 to the Belgium by the end of the World Cup because they're going to just keep beating teams by little margins. And I think, yeah, I'm going to say Belgium against Brazil in the final. Oh, shit. Belgium against Brazil in the final.
Yeah. So I've gone slightly different. I've gone France to beat Portugal. And obviously, I didn't have Belgium getting through the quarterfinal match. But I think it'll be from that final where, obviously, Portugal done them. I think that'll be the revenge game now. And France will be just too good for Portugal and they'll come through 2-0. So I've got Brazil versus France in the final. Obviously, one of these is going to get knocked out. But based on the semi-final that I've predicted, so Argentina, Brazil, France versus Portugal, if I get it completely wrong, and it's an Argentina versus Portugal, Messi versus Ronaldo World Cup final to win both of their things, I will absolutely jizz all over my living room. So I wouldn't mind getting that one wrong. And literally, from the quarterfinals, any team that gets through, you're getting a good game. So I will happily get all 8 predictions in the quarterfinals wrong, as long as we're seeing good football.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Phil. And there's something I'm going to mention kind of similar to that when we get to the final, because there's something I've got to say that's going to be a very big paradox. I know some people in the comments, probably Graham, they'd be thinking, what, always say, oh, what the fuck are you on about? But I'll make that clear in a sec.
So we go through to the final now. So for you, it's Brazil versus Belgium. For me, it's Brazil versus France. But do you want to just go through how you think this game will play out and who your World Cup winner 2022 is? Now,
I am so confident Brazil are going to win the World Cup. Like, regardless of what happens before it, I just think they're going to win the World Cup. But now I think that I know they're not gonna, because at every single and I am picking Brazil, by the way, but every single tournament for God knows how long, I have thought, oh, Brazil are going to win the World Cup, and then they don't. They'll lose in embarrassing fashion. They play crap football and they get knocked out. Like 2010, I thought they were going to win it. They were rubbish. 2014, I thought they were going to win it. They got absolutely annihilated by Germany on their own patch. 2018, I thought they were going to win it. They didn't. Like every single, I've predicted Brazil to win the last 3 World Cups, and they've not done it. So I'm sticking to it. I'm just going to ride it out and say Brazil. But, if they don't win the World Cup, it's because I've predicted it most likely, to be honest with you. I think I've just jinxed them for now.
So what you're saying, because the mighty Jord's bet on them, everyone go and get on everyone else, yeah?
Pretty much, man. But no, on paper, let's be realistic. Regardless on that, if it is Belgium, like the Netherlands, this is the end of the road. They're just severely overmatched. They're not going to be able to compete. They're going to be very, very tired. Brazil have got a much deeper squad than Belgium have got. They can start games with only half of the first team players, maybe until the quarterfinals, and they're still going to be all right. So they'll be a lot more well rested. And yeah, I just think that, like, on paper, Phil, we both said, haven't we, privately, that they are the best team at this tournament on paper. And it may be France are the only thing close to them, but they've got issues going on, etc. But yeah, so I'll take Brazil. They'll win it in normal time. There's not going to be any faffing around. 2-3-0, and it'll be another World Cup for Brazil and the first one for Neymar. And I can't wait for him crying for 4 hours after the game finishes.
Yeah, well, I've gone for the same winner, which is Brazil. Obviously, I've done it, beating France in the final, and I think that would be a cracking game. I think that could possibly be like 3-2 to someone. That would just be a shootout. But either way, we've both gone for Brazil, and we've been joined by someone in the comments. So, tally ho, all Brazil win it. Danny Alves wants another. So, fuck you, Graham. We've got another one of our favourite backing boys. That's 3 of us saying Brazil. Big up, Gary. Thanks for the comment, mate. So, no one else out there has said anything else. I know Graham's going for Argentina because he's done it in his sweepstake and he's got Messi for the golden boot. So, Graham's got Argentina. 3 of us have got Brazil. I know Max has gone for Brazil. So, Graham, you don't know what you're talking about, son. That's it. Brazil winning the World Cup. It's right there at the bottom of your screen. You've heard it here first. 2 best fantasy managers in the region have said it. That can't be wrong. So
I'll also just add as well, Phil, golden boot winner Ferran Torres, 40-1. 40 to 1. I didn't know we were doing that. Yeah. So Ferran Torres.
Who's your golden boot winner, Jord?
It is. Wait for it. This is going to be a surprise. Ferran Torres.
Is this the going out in the quarterfinals, Ferran Torres, that we're talking about here?
Yeah, but Ronaldo went out in the quarterfinals of Euros and he still won the golden boot. So
was that with just 4? Was it or
5? I think was it or 6? He's got a hat trick in one of the games, didn't he?
So who's Ferran Torres getting the hat trick against? Got Japan, Costa Rica, Germany.
It could well get one against Japan or Costa Rica or Germany. Who knows? But
so
the reason
get 9 goals just in the group stage. That's a safe as houses for the golden boot. I'll
tell you what, it's a shoe in. Get it? Shoe boot. Yeah, great. So I think in this
you're in no position to start trying to do clever jokes, Jord, after the other night.
So anyway, the Spain team, the goals are going to have to come from somewhere. At striker, I mean, Gerard Moreno, but he's not really a striker. He's kind of floats around up front. Ferran Torres, I think they're going to play centre forward and they're going to have wingers cutting inside, inverted wingers, and he should score a few goals. And I don't see there being one player from any particular country that's going to just start banging goals in. Like the people that you instantly think of are like Lewandowski. They're not going to be in the tournament, in my opinion, long enough for him to make a strong case. And the same can be said for players from other countries as well. If I think about teams like Germany, France, Portugal to an extent, they've all got multiple goal scorers in the team. There's not one player that they're always going to go to score goals. Portugal would have gone to Ronaldo, but with all that's transpired at Man United recently, I think he's pretty much done. So they're going to share responsibilities up front, Joao Felix, etc. Whereas Spain, Ferran Torres, I think he's the only player really in that Spain team that I would say is an out-and-out goal scorer, apart from maybe Gerard Moreno. But Luis Enrique kind of doesn't really like him. He's not play. He's brought him off early in games when he didn't really need to and things like that. So it wouldn't even surprise me if he played at striker, Torres, because he has played there for Spain in the past. So I'm trying to convince myself almost, but I'll be having a fiver on Ferran Torres at 40-1. I can't turn that down. Fantastic odds.
I'll see what the price of this is. Vinicius Junior to get 12 goals at this World Cup. That is a statement. That is out there. Oh, well, Graham thinks that Gabriel Jesus will get more than Vinicius Junior. So
the guy who can't finish his dinner in the Premier League.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The one who's going to be. He's tore up his betting slip now. It was Arsenal Invincibles 2.0, Gabriel Jesus Golden Boot in the bin. But yeah, Vinny Junior, he might get some goals, but I think there's a lot to distribute in the Brazil team, isn't there? There's a lot of goals to share out. There's a lot of players that are going to score there, so and you're not getting a penalty off a Neymar. I think a dark horse for me for the Golden Boot would be Memphis Depay, mainly because of how easy their group is. Depends if he's fit. I'm a bit hesitating because he's been injured last 5 games for Barcelona, so I think he'll definitely play. Who?
Gakpo in the same team.
Memphis on penalties.
Oh yeah, true.
Just thinking 25-1. It's a good little each way, but I think it probably will be just one of the big boys will win it. But never know. I think 5-6 goals should be enough. Whoever gets it, but like you say, if someone bangs in a hat trick and they go deep into the tournament, they're pretty set. They're going to get it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the other thing is that like Ferran Torres will probably take the penalties for Spain because he took it for Barca last season. Obviously, before even after Aubameyang was there, he was still taking it for Barcelona. So,
and there's no Sergio Ramos to muscle him off of the pens, was there? So yeah, that's a shot. So there you go. You've heard it here first. So Brazil win the World Cup, and Ferran Torres gets the Golden Boot.
Wonder what odds I got now.
Comes in, I will eat my own shit live on this show. I think that's got to be the challenge of the tournament, isn't it? If that comes in,
like if I'm looking though, and I'm seeing some of these odds, right? You've got Lautaro Martinez at 20. There's no way he's going to win a Golden Boot, and he's half the price of Ferran Torres.
Yeah, I know.
And you've also got like Richarlison. There's not a prayer he's going to win the goal, and he's way shorter than Ferran Torres. Morata, he's not going to be starting, and he's shorter, but he's a striker, of course. Bruno Fernandes, Gabby Jesus, Kai Havertz. Like, what the hell? Like, there genuinely is some good value out there. Because you've got where are we looking? Yeah, you've got Ferran Torres 40-1. I mean, Lewandowski's 40-1. If you think Poland have got a decent chance and he can bang some goals in.
Well, I suppose you've got to look as well when there'll be a surprise team, and that surprise team has to have a goal scorer to get out of their group, don't they? So you might find, what if you've got so Poland and Mexico got to play Saudi Arabia. If someone bangs a hat trick in that game and they get lucky in the next round, who else are you looking at? Uruguay, no. Serbia and Switzerland, maybe one of their players could get something, but I'd be very surprised if it was not one of the sort of top 6 big boys. But anyway, we can talk about this for hours. People are probably bored to death already at home, just us spending 10 minutes on Golden Boot. You've obviously got to get to a big appointment done at the gym. Installed a new vending machine, I believe, and they did a few arm curls with the old Yorkie bar.
Yeah, good one.
I'll be joining you for Mr. Kipling, don't worry.
Oh, brilliant, mate. Get them out. Fun fancies. Brilliant.
But yeah, well, anyway, Jord, so we'll have to meet up and do another live just to see how we joined the When Graham Was Wrong show on how much we managed to north this up. But yeah, thanks for your time as always. And do you want to just give a big shout out where we can find you and all your other shows, etc.?
Yeah, man, you can find me at Jord_NBA on Twitter. Also do the End of the Bench show for Munzie on a Wednesday, the Sports Capital or Darren. On a Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. We actually had Graham on last night, but he had to shoot off work commitments. So I'll have to get him back on soon. Obviously, Phil, you've said at some point in the future you'll swing by. So yeah, come check us out. We're also available on Spotify. So if you prefer, just listening to podcasts and stuff while you're doing chores or whatever, instead of sitting down and actually watching it, then yeah, you can download it at the Sports Capital on Spotify. Shows are about an hour long, so it's ideal, really. If you're just pottering around doing bits and bobs, you can just give us a listen, talk about hoops and having some fun. Yeah, well, all good stuff. Yeah, head over, check out Jord and Munzie at the Sports Capital Professional News Show. All right, cheers, Jord. As always, been a pleasure. We'll catch you on the next one. And guys, thanks for everyone who's in the comments. Thanks for everyone who watched. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you very soon for the next edition, and we've got some predictions that were pre-recorded coming up very soon. All right, cheers guys, cheers Jord, catch you on the next one.